three filmmakers with nothing in common. They thought they had it all figured out. They don't just follow the movies, they make them. Alexander Pavlak, Mario Silvas, and Jamal Alexander are the makers on film.
Sup? How you doing?
I'm up.
Are you sure you're up?
Well, sort of. I'm laying down for this whole thing, but still, I just could not fall asleep for the life of me today.
Really?
Adjusting to sleeping during the day is still kind of thing.
Are you just having problems with the new schedule?
No, it's not the schedule. My schedule is steady, like every day is the same. It's just the sleeping through the day is weird.
Weird.
Is Mario joining us?
Yeah, he said, I think he said 7:30.
7:30.
Yes,
It's another half hour I could have been sleeping. Thank you very much.
the text he gave me was, give an extra 30, I'm being a nurse right now. Yeah, so I'm not entirely sure what that means.
Okay.
But, so last week you said you watched the promo for the Muppets. Did you actually watch the Muppet episode?
Yes, I did.
What'd you think of it?
I liked it.
I liked it too. It was actually pretty good. I thought they did a better job with the promo. That some of the jokes that were in both were done better in the promo. But
Yeah, I kind of chalked that up to it being the promo being short, and they could just jam pack all those jokes into that 10 minutes, so it came off a little better. Whereas in the whole episode, they had to stretch it out and really kind of put in dialogue and storyline behind it.
yeah, I thought they sold it a little bit better, especially the when Fozzie Bear went to go see his girlfriend's parents.
Yeah, notice they changed the girl too.
Did they?
I don't think that's the same actress.
I don't know. She was kind of nondescript in both settings, so I didn't notice that too much.
I get a Modern Family vibe off the whole thing.
Does Modern Family use that trope of doing the confessionals?
They built the entire show around it.
Did they? I don't know. I still haven't seen an episode of that yet. I know The Office did that, and I think Parks and Recreation does it.
Oh yeah, the way they do it on the Muppets is more reminiscent of The Office,
Yeah.
as opposed to Modern Family. Modern Family is pretty much, they sit in the living room and do that sort of thing. Whereas this is a workplace comedy, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I like the utilization of each and every Muppet. I mean, even the obscure one. The guy that's wondering, was I in a Christmas special?
That was pretty good that they brought those in.
Yeah. And I love Animal in the Thing when he's talking to Imagine Dragons. Animal, anytime you're ready to go back on the road again. No, too many towns, too many women. Animal nudity, if it's tasteful, okay, we'll keep that on the back burner. Animal start doing CrossFit tomorrow.
Animal always was one of my favorite characters.
I love Gonzo. He's always been one of my favorite characters, and in this one, I don't think he really got his personality off. I don't think he's really found his niche in there yet.
Not yet, but he's pretty close. I'll give you that. I love when they went to go talk to Miss Piggy, and she's like, I'm thinking Gary. And he's like, yeah, Gary, that's it.
Oh God, well, I love his little thing about the interviews.
Yeah.
Like that's such an overused trope where you cut away to one person saying something and then going back and he says the exact opposite thing, which is really a real criticism of that trope.
It is. It is. And
That device. Device. I'm sorry.
yeah. And I really thought that they were going to take that to heart too. I didn't actually foresee that joke happening, which I thought was actually kind of cool, the whole thing. So have you watched anything else this week of note?
I saw the Modern Family. I saw season premieres of Modern Family and The Simpsons and Family Guy. What else did I watch? Blackish.
Well, how is Blackish? I haven't seen that one either. That one intrigues me.
It uh, it has potential. As far as just being a comedy, it's sometimes I think the jokes miss their mark,
Hmm.
but it has potential in that if it chooses the right subject matter, it can be different from everything else.
Well,
For instance, the first episode back this season, they were talking about the word
yeah,
that you can't use.
the word that I bleeped Mario from using.
Yes, that one.
Yes.
Uh, and doing that kind of shows like how that show could be different from everything else on TV because there isn't a lot of like African American programming on primetime network television, and aside from maybe Empire on Fox, I can't think of very many. But in tackling that subject, like in the first episode of the second season, I thought that it shows where that show could separate itself from the pack and really kind of find its own voice.
Right. Well, what season are they in? They're like in the second or third season, aren't they?
They just debuted their second season.
Okay. Do you have your AC unit going on in the background or something?
Yes.
Yeah, I can totally hear it.
All right. How about now?
That's much better, yes.
Okay, I just pointed the mic away. That's all I did.
Okay, well, that's fine then.
Okay.
So, the new season of South Park started.
There's one I didn't watch.
Um,
What was that one?
well, apparently they have a real bug up their ass about Bruce Jenner's transformation into Kylie Jenner,
Figures.
which is way more than how I feel about it. Because I honestly I don't care. I don't think she's a hero or anything like that. I think she's just a white man of privilege who's now a white woman of privilege. So I mean, but they have really gone for the jugular with her, and I'm not too sure how I feel about that because I like South Park and usually they're cutting edge and they're good at pointing out inconsistencies with people in the limelight. And I think with this one, I don't know if they're going too far. I think it's just they already devoted 2 episodes to this, and I see this as a trend probably going throughout the entire series. And I think that's just going to be a little too much.
Again, I've never been a fan of it, but I the show built itself on just being controversial, and I don't know that anything is too far for them at this point. I mean, they remember the whole depiction of Muhammad episode.
Yeah, that one was a bit much too. But it's kind of the thing that South Park does. They point out the ludicrousness of some of our beliefs, and they do it with everybody. They did a whole episode devoted to Mormonism, and they did a whole episode devoted to religious cults and stuff like that, and Scientology, and I'm sure they've attacked Christianity and Catholicism too. They are an equal opportunity. Uh, uh, they don't discriminate in who they discriminate against, I guess you can say. But this one just seems, and maybe it's just the amount of publicity she has received in the press is reflected in the amount of fun they're going to make of her on South Park. But again,
Did it just seem mean-spirited, or?
it's not any more or less mean-spirited than they are with anything else.
No,
But
again, I don't think that at this point that there's anything that's sort of off limits or going too far from them. I mean, this is a show that devoted an entire episode to keeping Tom Cruise in the closet.
Yeah, well, they've done a couple episodes about that, but you're absolutely right. They definitely do like to push the envelope there.
I wouldn't even call it pushing the envelope. I think that's. Honestly, just for me, it seems like blatant capitalizing on tabloids for ratings purposes.
Okay, you've gotten really quiet. Is the microphone now not pointed towards you?
No. I trailed off there. I'm sorry.
No, it's cool. I've been watching old episodes of Top Gear America.
Oh, what'd you think of it?
For the most part, it's kind of trippy and surrealistic because they do a lot of the things they do on Top Gear England or Europe or whatever it's called, or just Top Gear, I guess it's called. And when I say they do a lot of the things they do on the other show, I mean they do the exact same thing.
Yeah, they blatantly just rip off entire episodes or entire concepts from the original.
But the other thing that they do is because one of the episodes that I saw was their limousine episode, where in both UK and America, they each person made a limousine and then tried to pick up a celebrity and take them to an event. And in one case, it was the exact same limousine. Both shows featured a Corvette limousine that had a chair that moved back and forth to get you to the back of the car because it was only 2 doors.
I forget who was the celebrity.
Betty White was one of them, and I forget who the other 2 celebrities were.
Oh, I'm trying to remember.
But most of the episodes I've been seeing have been them doing a road trip of some sort. Where the last one I saw
Yeah, I like I like.
Yeah, they're probably my favorite part of the UK episodes. But this is like every episode is a road trip. Like they got 3 different supercars to drive across America. Last episode is the cars that they had in college. They bought versions of those cars and then drove them into Mexico for a spring break. And then they did something else where they did something similar to that. Oh, they took rental cars and they drove them across the Mojave Desert.
Yeah, the road trip episodes, or in the UK they actually have the specials they have.
Yeah.
I love the specials they have there because they turn those into like full blown like motion pictures.
Yeah.
The American version I really like. Have you seen the SUV one?
No, I haven't yet.
Where basically they test out 3 SUVs. Nothing. They're brand new SUVs, so it's not like they're going through these wacky zany tests or anything. They're just driving them on the beach, trying to comfortably take somebody on a picnic, and I forget, and then just which one of them got to point A to point B fastest. Yeah. But they basically had to drive up Bear Mountain. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought the production value on it was pretty cool. And I just like SUVs in general too.
Yeah. No, I've been thinking that I totally want to do one of their road trip style things. Maybe not like 3 people in 3 different cars, but something like driving across the Mojave Desert, or driving down into Mexico on a spring break-esque trip.
Do not go to Mexico under any circumstances.
Why?
There's still travel sanctions on going to Mexico.
There's still what?
Travel sanctions.
There's
like it's still pretty dangerous down there.
Oh yeah, I know. You in Tijuana, it's a tourist trap. It's all sorts of things done for the American dollar. But there are some neighborhoods that if you wander into, that you may not make it out alive.
Yeah, and me and my family had, because we had absolutely no idea when we first came to this country, actually went down to Nogales and to Tijuana. The two most dangerous two of the more dangerous cities.
Yeah.
Really, the most dangerous parts of Mexico are in the east.
Well, I mean, a lot of that, and what a lot of people don't realize about Tucson is that Tucson is a neutral city for organized crime. So in Tucson, we have two different Mexican cartels. We have the Italian mafia. We have four different motorcycle gangs, and they all work and live here peacefully because it's a neutral town, which means that if they have a problem with somebody else from a different gang, they have to go to their respective bosses and have their bosses sit down and talk about it and come to some sort of arrangement or agreement. Hopefully you don't get transferred out to a different city, because then you'll probably get killed. But you can't just go around shooting people willy-nilly. And the reason why that is because Tucson is a border town. And that means that so much drugs and people come across the border into America, and vice versa. So much drugs and people get transported down into Mexico, that it's such a cash cow, that it's such a illegal port, if you will, that they don't want to screw anything up and have law enforcement really look at this place. So on the other side of that, you have the border towns that are close to Tucson, that are close to Arizona and close to California, that gangs are vying for dominance and for possession. So yeah, that's kind of one of the reasons why going into Mexico, into those border towns, is very dangerous.
How do you know all that about Tucson? Really?
How do you not know that about Tucson? You've lived here longer than I have.
I don't know any of that. No.
There's a biker bar here in town called the Bashful Bandit, and I did ride my gay little scooter there one day.
What do they say?
I sat at the bar, and I had on a leather jacket, a motorcycle jacket. I had on a full face helmet, and I had the helmet sitting right on the bar. And there's like 3 or 4 motorcycles out front, and there was that bright red little scooter sitting there. And I sat at the bar where I could see right out the front door and see my scooter and make sure nobody was messing with it. And I swear to God, every 5 minutes, somebody would come right next to me, look out the door, and be all like, whose fucking scooter is that? Who fucking parks a scooter there? This went on for a good hour and a half. I sat there, I
That is so. That is you to a T. You would put on the whole regalia for a biker, get out to a gay little scooter, and just I don't know, to antagonize or just to ironically do something. Go to a biker bar to do that.
Well, the thing is, I talked to some people. I had a good time. I drank with them. Never said once that it was my scooter. People all were like, whose scooter is that? I'm like, I know, right? And then I walked out there very quickly, put the key in the ignition, put the helmet on as quickly as I could, and took off as fast as I could, because I didn't want anybody to realize who was on that scooter when it started up. Because, it's not as loud as a motorcycle, but it's that little noise that, I'm sure everybody was like, who's starting a lawnmower?
I'm sure they all knew it was yours too.
And I'm sure by the time I started pulling away, everybody was looking out the door,
Laughing.
And my motorcycle jacket, I'm trying to sell it on Craigslist right now, has the 2 white stripes going down the side, and then like 2 white stripes going around one of the sleeves. So it was the only motorcycle jacket in the place that had a little bit of white on it. Everything else was black leather. So they probably knew right away whose gay little scooter that was.
Yeah, that is just you to a T.
Yes, and I've known people who drive like real motorcycles, but they're foreign jobs, and they'll park their motorcycles down the street like a block away and then walk to the Bashful Bandit, because they don't want those guys seeing a foreign motorcycle. And there I am with this bright red little scooter.
Okay, so it should be right across the street from the old Bunny Ranch or whatever. I used to live directly across from both. Like there's an apartment there. There's the tire shop right across the street, right?
Yeah.
I lived in the apartment complex right behind it.
Really?
You know, yeah, you know who you are. You used to be those kids I saw. These college kids that come to Tucson. They're looking for they're hipster kids, and they're looking for like a really authentic hipster experience. So they get it. They get their little flannel out of their hats, and they go to like the seediest bars that they can find on purpose. And so I used to watch these kids walk into to the Bashful Bandit all the time, always during the day, because they were too chicken to come during the night when the bikers were actually there. So they would they would get on their flanneliest flannel with their little bowler hats or whatever, and come during the day to go there with their glasses, and they would be reading books in there, drinking beer.
Oh my God, that's pretty bad. Because like when I went in my scooter, it was at night. I stayed there until probably about 12:30, 1 o'clock at night. I think I got there at about 10. So I spent some significant time there.
Yeah, I'm really starting to remember that part of town now. I remember the bunny ranch.
Did you go to the Buddy Ranch a lot?
With friends, yes. I never had the guts to just go by myself because that just seems sad. Like if you go to a strip club by yourself, that just seems sad.
You have a greater chance of taking one of the strippers home if you go by yourself. No, you do. Trust me.
Okay, fine. I will give you that, but from an outside perspective, it just seems a little pervy.
Yeah, I can see that, but you know, of course the best time to go is like a Wednesday evening. You go to the strip club because there's never anybody there, and then the strippers will be all ticked off that they got a babysitter, and that they're at work and not making any money. So then you say, well, since you have a babysitter and you're not making any money and you want to leave early, why don't you come home with me?
Ah,
And that works more times than you would think.
you know what I oddly enough what I want to do? I want to go there during opening hours. I want to see the B team.
I used to do that when I was working overnight security.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That actually brings up. I was just watching a video. You know they have a beer and weed bong combo now.
A weed what?
A beer and weed bong combo.
Ugh. I can't do beer and weed. That makes me pass straight the fuck out.
What it is basically this. It's this. I don't know. It's a glass cylinder that you pour the beer into, and sticking out the top or bottom or whatever is a little slot for a joint. What happens is you kind of screw on this kind of like I don't know. It's something you drink through. It's kind of like the thing a breathalyzer has or an asthma inhaler has. You know the tube that comes out of the end for that you push out to get it. And basically you screw it in, turn it over, chug the beer, and at the very end, while you're doing that, you're lighting up the other side of it. Where the mouthpiece is on the opposite side of it, like from where it's kind of like a mouthpiece, the bottle part, and then on the other side of the bottle, opposite the mouthpiece, is where the joint is.
Right.
So when you turn it over and you're chugging, you light up the joint. So as soon as you're done, you could keep sucking on the thing and get the hit from the joint.
See, that's the thing that always makes me laugh, and Dennis Leary said it best, is that weed does not lead to other drugs, it leads to fucking carpentry. That the only time any pothead actually ever does anything when he's trying to make a bigger and better bong. Or pipe, or whatever it is.
We spent the ingenuity we put into that, and yet we still haven't cured cancer.
Well, that's because, they haven't come up with something that's, a cure for cancer / weed pipe.
Well, weed is the chief thing that we get for that.
Well, it's not a cure for it. It's, it just helps you with the symptoms.
It's for the pain.
It's for the pain and to give you the munchies because going through the chemo makes you lose your appetite because you always feel sick.
Yeah.
So it helps you eat too. Is a dietary supplement? No, that's not right. It's something like that though.
Hey, what happened to Dennis Leary, by the way?
What happened to what?
Dennis Leary. I haven't heard from him in like decades.
He was doing that firefighter TV show set in Boston for the longest time.
Okay. I'm thinking of something, someone else altogether. Okay, Dennis Leary from Rescue Me, and he was in the Spider-Man movie. God, what was his name back in the day? Not Bill Maher, but the political one. God.
No, Bill Maher was the political one.
There was another guy. Like he was really into politics. Like he would drop.
The guy who used to be on Saturday Night Live, Dennis Miller. He did the news for Saturday Night Live. He would do all sorts of weird references.
I think we might be talking about the right guy. He had a goatee the whole time.
No, I don't think that's the same guy.
I think it might have been Dennis Miller. Hang on.
I
would get up to Google everything, but I'm so comfortable right now.
There we go. Dennis Miller. If that's okay, yeah, he does kind of have a beard and goatee.
Okay, that's the guy.
Yeah. He's actually a sports commentator now.
Really?
Yeah, I forget. Here's his IMDb page. I forget what he's on. But he's doing some sort of sports show.
Yeah, he was always really weirdly into politics, like too much so. Like he would drop jokes that only like people in Washington would get. Like he would name specific names, like, oh, this guy did this or whatever. Like nobody else would laugh at, but somehow that was a thing. I heard he'd actually lost, like he went off the deep end after 9/11.
That I don't know.
I didn't know he was on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, he was the
Weekend News guy.
The Weekend News guy, yeah. Oh, he did some hosting for WWF Raw. He did a couple episodes of that. Yeah, he's done some. He's been doing some sports stuff lately, so I don't know if he's on ESPN or Fox Sports or what, but you know. And he's still writing, and I think he's still touring.
Yeah, his stand-up is just bizarre. Like it is so incredibly specific. Like it has to be for somebody who spends their entire day just reading about politics in general.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so I don't know where Mario is, so you want to go into this? So first off, did you watch the movie Kick-Ass?
I saw it some time ago.
You didn't rewatch it for today's show?
I wanted to, but again, it became a struggle just to fall asleep. Like I was gonna watch it right before the show.
Yeah.
And I laid down at like 9, and I didn't fall asleep until like 1.
Wow. So you could have spent that time watching the movie.
I could have spent the time watching the movie, but it actually became a task. By the time 11 rolled around, I'm like 11:30 rolled around. Well, I could start watching the movie now, but never fall asleep.
Well, sometimes watching the movie helps you fall asleep because it gets your mind to stop thinking.
I think of the weirdest stuff when I'm like trying to fall asleep.
Yeah,
like
no, right?
for whatever reason, like have you ever heard the story about the lady that got attacked by a chimp?
I'm sure there's many stories like that. Can you be more specific?
The one that had her face eaten.
I kind of remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, that came up, and it's like I was high or something. I started tripping balls while I was sitting there, like, what if there's a chip like right outside my door right now? So I at one point I actually got up and locked the door.
Were you drinking or smoking or snorting anything?
No, but I was hungover, like right at the, like work yesterday sucked because I was like so hungover, which is weird because I only had like one drink.
Yeah,
Granted, it was a large drink.
you're getting old.
I'm getting old. Thanks for reminding me. I'm like turning 30, bro. I'm having my second 29th birthday.
When is your birthday?
November
Oh, November what?
6th.
Okay. So you're a Scorpio.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's November 13th. So,
Oh, Brothers of the Scorpion.
yes. Dennis Miller's is November 3rd, if you were wondering, which is weird that we were just talking about him.
Huh. I'm gonna have to. I forgot. I know I have a birthday in common with somebody famous. I just can't remember at the moment. And again, I'm not getting up to Google anything. Did not fall asleep till like almost 2, so I'm gonna lie here. This is how I'm gonna do the show from now on. Again, this is my quest to make this the latest show on television or
You're uh,
on the internet.
yeah. You're in a leather chair, aren't you?
No, I'm on. My mom was in town recently, and I had these in inflatable airbeds.
Oh, okay.
So I'm on that right now in the living room.
Yeah, because I hear that fart noise that happens when, something
No,
rubs
that.
up against like plastic or leather or something.
Well, no, that's just me farting.
Oh, okay. Well, then you need to point the microphone away from your ass.
Well, how else would I do the show?
Everything you say is pretty shitty.
Thanks.
Anyway,
That.
so what do you remember from Kick-Ass when you saw it? How long ago did you see it?
No, not too long after it came out on DVD. I remember it being very stylized, in my opinion.
It is very stylized.
I, which I'm not entirely sure I like. But having, I like this director. Having seen this movie before seeing The Kingsman. I don't know if you've seen it.
I haven't. I almost rented it from Redbox this weekend, but we went with It Follows instead.
It it is incredibly stylized too, even more so than this movie. But it's such a it sets up his style so beautifully. Like if you saw the two movies one after the other, you would definitely see Matthew Vaughn has a signature to him. In the same way that I'm trying to think of it. In the same way that sort of somebody like Josh Whedon has a style, or Jean Favreau.
Yeah. Well,
Like Favreau movies have a certain look and feel to them.
right. Well, this guy also did X-Men First Class.
That one stylized, yes, but not to the same extent as these two.
Yeah. No, see the cool thing that he did with this is that he made it very realistic up until like the end. He made it very realistic, but he did a comic book thing where he gave everybody a certain color. Where Kick-Ass is always in green, Red Mist is always in red, Hit Girl's always in purple. The main bad guy Mark Strong is always in orange. He did that kind of thing, so he gave it a very kind of comic book look to it, but made it ultra realistic, which is kind of cool.
When I say stylized, everything has that kind of new sheen to it.
Yeah.
And you really get that when him and God, what's the kid's name? The nerd.
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Well,
Played
no,
the
no,
character Kick-Ass.
no, not Kick-Ass. The main bad guy's son.
Oh, the Red Mist, Christopher Mintz, please.
Yeah, when he shows up and they're rolling around and he's in his brand new suit and they're in the car and all that, I'm like, okay, this there's a sort of music video quality to Matthew Vaughn's directing.
Yes, there is. There is. Now that you mention it, yes, I see that.
That's what I mean by stylized.
Okay.
Like, give me 1 second, I gotta go turn off the alarm just went off. Oh my god, I have to.
the hell is going on over there?
I bet you could tell I was coming back just from the farting noises.
From the grunting noises of you putting forth all that effort to walk. You talk about me making old man noises.
Hey, what's your tomorrow night look like?
What is tomorrow, Wednesday?
Yeah.
I don't know. Why?
Because I just canceled whatever I'm doing tomorrow night. Because, stuff.
Okay.
Do you want to do... I can watch the show again. Or the movie again. If Mario's ready to join us then. Because apparently he's not.
Well, he's not answering my text. I don't know what's going on with him. No, we can continue on tonight. That's fine.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you've seen it.
Like a while ago, but okay.
But before we go into that, speaking of alarm clocks, have you seen the promo for or the teaser for Jessica Jones, the new Marvel Netflix TV series coming?
That thing where she just crushes the
alarm clock?
Yeah.
That's I have to admit that's kind of intriguing, but they don't give you anything to go by as far as what this show might be.
No. I mean, damn it, I forgot another alarm, but that's fine. I can live with that. What was I going to say? Yeah, there's a lot of, like, I've read the comic books, and just based off those trailers, you get no sense whatsoever what's actually in there.
No.
Like, she's a private investigator with superpowers, basically.
Oh yeah, that much I've gotten from reading it on the Wikipedia page. Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
God bless Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm. And I know she has some sort of love affair with I forget if it's Power Fist or Luke Cage is one of those two guys.
Power Man, Luke Cage.
Power Man. But or is it Iron Fist and Luke Cage?
Well, no. Luke Cage's old code name, even though Luke Cage is a code name because his real name's Carl. Yeah, his old code name was Power Man, and he teamed up with a guy named Iron Fist.
Okay. But she's the girlfriend of one of those two guys, and they're doing
Luke Cage, yeah.
And they're doing Netflix TV series of both of those guys, and then they're eventually going to do the Defenders, which is the team they all become.
Yeah, which is weird because the Defenders is a name for a completely different team.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that I did not know.
Doctor Strange, Namor, the Silver Surfer, and the Hulk, after he got kicked out of the Avengers for being the Hulk. That's not even a joke. They kicked him out for being the Hulk.
That's very sad.
Well, this can't become the Hulk in the movies is super tame compared to the Hulk in the comic books.
True.
So in the comic books, he goes off and just he causes obscene amounts of property damage, so they finally kick him out. And Doctor Strange gets this idea of here, let me just put together people that really don't fit in anywhere else or aren't really team type people, and we'll just take care of these few missions, and then we won't join up again. And then for some whatever reason, they keep teaming up afterwards,
Hmm.
and they're the Defenders,
Okay.
which I always thought was a better name than the Avengers. When you think about it, Avengers is a terrible superhero name because what exactly are you avenging every day?
Well, I really disliked the line in the first one where Tony Stark says, "We may not be able to save the Earth, but we'll damn well avenge it." I
I
thought that
know,
was just a crap line and very cheesy to put in the movie.
cheesy crap line, and if you really think about it, it's admission of failure. Like we can't save you, but we'll spend our time afterwards, kind of like trying to get back at them.
That's kind of it. It's like, yeah, we got something else going on, so we won't
We
save you
we
now.
pl- like we plan on failing. We're not we're not going to save your life here.
We're not even trying. Half the guys are off at a barbecue.
Yeah, like we've given up. At this point, we know we're not going to save the world. So we're gonna name ourselves appropriately, and then you know we're gonna Charlie horse them for the rest of for eternity.
We're gonna go to their planet, ring their doorbell, and run away.
Yeah, there you go.
So anyway, kick ass. So I noticed something in this movie that this is my second time watching it, and I actually like it. It's a really good movie. It's just really well done. It's a little cheesy at the end. I didn't like the the jetpack. I thought that was a bit much. Considering the tone of the rest of the film, him showing up in a jetpack was just a bit much. But like I noticed in this viewing that each of really the main characters had some sort of weird relationship with their fathers. Like Kick-Ass's dad is almost absent. Their relationship is very estranged, especially after the mom dies. They sit in the exact same spots at the breakfast table, and they have nothing really to say to one another. Um, Even when the dad kind of gives him some words of encouragement, um, the he's just like, hey, you look a little different, and mostly that's because he's dating this girl now, not because he's actually kick ass.
Not the fact that he put on like 20 pounds of muscle.
Yeah, it's just, well, maybe that's it too, but the whole thing is that the dad isn't really that observant of his son, whereas Hit Girl's dad, who is
Big
who is
Daddy.
Big Daddy, who is both the best and the worst father out of the lot, because he is making her a homicidal vigilante, but he's really caring and he really loves her. And even that one scene where he shoots her in the chest with a gun
Yeah.
is kind of enduring and kind of sweet. And fuck you, movie, for making me laugh at a guy shooting his 11-year-old daughter in the chest with a gun. And
What
then
movie was that?
this is Kick-Ass.
Oh, so
This is
I just came in at guy shooting daughter in the chest.
Yeah, I'm talking about the relationship each of the really main characters had with their fathers, where Kick-Ass's relationship with his father was kind of estranged, and they didn't talk much, and the father was almost absentee, which is kind of why he probably looked for heroes in comic books. Hit Girl's dad was both the best and the worst. He was teaching her how to be a homicidal vigilante, but yet on the other side, he was very loving and caring of her. Whereas the Red Mist dad, who is actually probably the father with the most amount of ethics towards raising his kid, who shields his child from the violence and the criminal activity that he does, even so far as to when the dad is doing coke on his desk and his son pops in, he covers it up real quickly. And some of that is because, he doesn't really have the faith in his child to take over the business. But I think a lot of that too is that he just doesn't want to involve his child in that. He sees what kind of man his child is, and he doesn't think that he can handle this business. So he kind of shields it from him, hoping that he will be a better man than he is, which
Right.
I thought was very cool kind of origin stories, or background stories, because none of these guys have a story like Batman where they have to go out and do this. I mean, kind of Big Daddy does, but I mean, Kick-Ass even says at some point in the movie, with no power comes no responsibility. He has no responsibility to go out and fight crime. His superpower is the fact that he makes a conscious effort every day to put on that mask and go out there. Do you have your window open, Mario?
No, I'm driving home from Santa Barbara right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, here, I'll be right back. I have another alarm going off.
Oh no.
Oh, he's been putting
Damn
out
it.
fires all day.
Oh my. No, I'm actually driving back from Santa Barbara right now. I spent the last 2.5, almost 3 days at the hospital. So,
Oh man, what's going on with you? Is this
uh,
your girlfriend?
yeah, no, it's the girlfriend. She had surgery this 2 days ago.
Okay.
So I've been playing nurse and taking care of her, and stayed up pretty much all night last night, just in case she needed anything. And obviously, after surgery, you can't really do too much. You can't talk or anything. So, okay, I know people are gonna make fun of me for this, but I had a little toy squeaker, like for my dog, and I brought it over. And so anytime she needed something, she could squeak it, and then I'd come help her. I know.
No, you know what though? That is kind of sweet. That is very attentive of you. You thought outside the box because apparently you didn't have a bell for her to ring. I mean, I'm not going to make fun of that, but it's just kind of a funny visual, her squeaking the dog toy and you come running.
Yeah. It's at first it was a little demeaning. So I'm like, I just got summoned like a dog, and then after that, I'm like, it doesn't fucking matter. My girl's in pain right now, so.
Yeah. So how did the
Yep.
surgery go? Is she okay?
Yeah, she's good. Removed the gallbladder. It was a cyst, and because it was so large at that point in time, they didn't know what it was. So that's why they had to remove the gallbladder and do everything. And she's good now.
Did they think it was cancerous?
They figured it wasn't just from the doctor that she has. He's like number one gallbladder and pancreas surgeon in California. And so,
Didn't even know that was a specialty.
yeah, apparently it is. It's like ear, nose, throat doctor. There's gallbladder and pancreas surgeon. So, yeah, so she did really well. She's able to, within about 12 hours, she was able to walk again.
Oh, that's cool.
And yeah, so she's doing good. We gave her some OxyContin and fucking put her right to sleep right now. And that's where I was. That's why I'm coming in so late right now.
Not a problem. I completely understand that. And we shoot out to Mario's unnamed girlfriend. So hope she recovers very soon and very painlessly.
Yeah.
All right. So did you watch the Kick-Ass movie?
Yes, I did actually.
Okay. So
Watched it at the hospital.
Well, what else are you gonna do at the hospital?
Yeah, right, Jeeves.
So what did you think of it?
Let's see. Let's see. I saw it in the theaters when it first came out. I just thought it was a really fun movie when it first came out. Something that hasn't really been done yet on a comic book scale. I thought it was up there with Watchmen. It's non-traditional style comic in the sense, because there's no main superhero. It's just, as you were saying, there's just a whole bunch of vigilantes coming together and, just trying to right what's wrong, I guess, is the easiest way of putting it.
Well, the nice thing about this is, unlike like a Batman or Superman or Captain America movie, um, uh, they sold the rights to Kick-Ass, the movie rights to Kick-Ass before the book was even published. So as they were creating it, they were probably thinking of how this will relate to a movie. But the really cool thing is the audience doesn't really know who Kick-Ass is. So when we get an origin story for him, it's actually more poignant
Right.
because we don't know who this person is. Unlike, how many origin stories of Superman have we had? How many Batman origin stories have we had? We know how that goes. We don't need another one.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, that was one reason I loved the film, because this was one of the few comic book movies that I watched the film before I read anything about it. Before I read the comics, before I did anything, or I guess it's a graphic novel.
Yeah.
Before anything, I saw the film first, and I loved the movie. I thought it was so much fun. Having Hit Girl just fucking demolishing these guys, and she's like 9 or 10 or something like that.
11.
11. Okay, she's 11, but just demolishing these guys in front of Kick-Ass, who, for all intents and purposes, is a giant fucking pussy at that point in time.
Well,
And he was. He brought a taser to a gunfight. You're gonna get your ass kicked.
Well, that's another thing about the movie that there's a few things about this movie that bother me, and this was one of them. Not so much that fight scene that you're talking about, the first fight scene where Kick-Ass sees Hit Girl and realizes that there's other heroes that are real, that are out there. But he sees this. There's this juxtaposition about how Kick-Ass does things. He has a pair of batons and he has a tiny little stun gun, and he gives the bad guy the opportunity to walk away. So
Right.
he approaches this in as non-violent of a way that you can. And
Honestly, what he really reminded me of was like a weak Superman.
okay,
And I know a lot of people compare Kick-Ass to Batman, but there's a difference between Batman and Superman. Batman will kill, just plain out. It's never explicitly said that he will, but he does. He's killed. Huh?
On occasion, he does, yeah.
Yeah, and he has, yeah.
Okay.
Superman won't. And there's even, I'm not a comic book nerd, but I like comic books. They're fun to read. And there was one thing that I read, and someone asked one of the illustrators, one of the artists for comic book, it was the New 52 comic series that was coming out, and they asked him, what's the difference between Batman and Superman? And the guy goes, well, the main difference is Superman will actually try to see the good in people, and he's not a beast. Batman is a demon. He will do anything and everything to right what is wrong, even if that means killing someone. And I'm looking back on it, I'm like, that's completely true, because Clark Kent, Kal-El, Superman, whatever you want to call him, he is the quintessential good guy.
Yes.
Whereas someone like Batman, he will fucking torture someone, hang him upside down, and
scare him to death.
Yeah, and to get one answer out of him. Whereas, and that's what I saw Kick-Ass as originally. He was the pussy version of Superman.
Yeah.
He was nice. He was courteous. He went into the lion's den and asked them to stop.
Right, and that's where I was going with this, because with Hit Girl and with Big Daddy, those guys are a little bit over the edge. They're killers. Hit Girl straight up murders a guy who didn't have a weapon on him. She kind of goats people into trying to attack her, and she stabbed that guy literally in the back, which the special effects on this movie were a little lame, but they had a small budget, so we'll oversee that. They didn't do very much with it, but so his almost non-violent approach to this and their ultra-violent approach to this really is in conflict, and you kind of see that a little bit in Kick-Ass's character and after he goes home and he lays down on the bed and he kind of has a sulk. You think he's reflecting on this about how unprepared he is for this. Also, he just straight up saw 8 people get murdered right before his eyes by an 11-year-old girl, who then says, hey, we're on the same team, don't worry about it, kind of a thing. So it's like there's those two things. I think we just lost Mario. There's those two things, and then towards the end of the film, Kick-Ass shoots a rocket at somebody and kills them. So it's like there's a hump there that was weird for me to get over, seeing him go to a kind of ultra-violent ending to the whole thing. You still there, Jamal?
Did we lose Mario?
Yeah, we lost Mario. He's driving, so he'll probably be in and out, so to speak. I'm trying to Skype him again here. There we go. There we go. Yeah, we lost you there for a second.
Yeah, there we go. No, I'm driving along the coast right now, back to Ventura.
Yeah.
I think I hit like an odd patch and just died.
Yeah, but like I was saying, is that Hit Girl and Big Daddy are so ultra violent, and that we see Kick-Ass lie in bed and ponder what he did and what he just saw, like 12 people get murdered right in front of him, and then at the very end he picks up a rocket launcher and shoots the main bad guy with it. So
yeah, I mean he has a complete switch in character, which I loved. It was an actual gradual switch in his character. He was trying to be nice and courteous. How a teenager sees a vigilante. Someone who just goes in and has a status symbol and just asks them to stop doing something, and they do. Or, he doesn't see the intricacies behind it.
Right. So.
And then at the very end, he comes in and he's just like, okay, this is what needs to get done. And, mind you, it included a rocket and a jetpack and a minigun. But
the jetpack, in my mind, was a bit much. That took me out of the realism.
I thought that was the funniest goddamn thing in the world.
Oh, it's funny. Don't get me wrong. It's funny, but it turns it more into a comic book. And in the very beginning, the first 2 acts of this movie seem very realistic, and then they have him show up with this jetpack with Gatling guns on it.
But what? I think that was necessary because these were some of his first kills. If you think about it, because every other time it was just him subduing people and just beating people and getting them to do the right. But this was the first time that he actually pulled the metaphorical and the literal trigger.
Yeah.
And so I think they needed to go over the top. So you're clearly a part of this character still, and you're like, okay, he's still a good guy. But it's almost like he went from Superman to Batman now.
Well, I think part of it, too, was that he felt responsible for Big Daddy's death, which he is responsible for Big Daddy's death.
He is.
But, I think that kind of was a catalyst to this, at least in my mind. It seemed like it was the catalyst to this. But it still seemed like when they went back to Big Daddy's apartment, and he's washing his face off with blood, and she's packing guns, and he comes out and he's like, oh, I meant, pack some clothes and some pajamas, and you're living at my place. There should have been a bigger discussion there about what needed to be done, violence versus anti-violence, and that would have been a nice little place to put some sort of anti-violent message, which it would have laid it on a little heavy there. But I think that would have been a nice little debate for those 2 characters, that this 11-year-old girl is telling you all the rhetoric that her father taught her, and that how and this could have been very much satire about politics, how people hear their parents talk about politics and just parrot that back as their own opinion.
Yeah. And honestly, I understand, yes, but I don't think it was necessary for them to draw anything out.
True.
Only for the reason that, she is an 11-year-old little girl, so her mind view is all been brainwashed. And, brainwash is a hard word, don't get me wrong, but she's been sculpted by her father to do this job and only this, and that being of a vigilante, being able to see what is right and what is wrong. And yes, he was one of those cops that went over the board, and, he passed that along to his daughter. So, going along into that mindset, she was no longer a little girl the second she started seeing Big Daddy on fire. She was no longer an 11-year-old girl.
True.
Physically she is, but mentally she just grew up. There is no age set for that. She grew up and realized this isn't a game anymore. Up until that point, she was having fun killing everybody.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until that warehouse scene that you saw her get vicious with her kills.
Mhm.
And same thing with Kick-Ass. He was no longer just. He realized the severity of his actions at that point in time.
Mhm.
And again, that's why it goes back to when he goes back to the to Big Daddy's apartment, like, oh, pack up and everything. Is when he saw this 11-year-old little girl basically say, "Fuck that, let's kill everybody." I think that was the moment that it finally clicked with him, and there was no need for a drawn out. We need to go back or we don't need to go back. Violence isn't the answer. We need to get the cops. It was personal at that point in time, and he grew up as well.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah, go on.
I was going to say, this is actually the one point in the movie where somebody has a very comic book style origin. I mean, she sees gangsters set her father on fire,
Yeah,
and this is the catalyst for the third act, basically.
yeah.
So it's interesting that they put that there instead of putting that at the beginning. Or
And I liked it like that too, because it wasn't the entire story wasn't an origin. Like Batman Begins.
mm-hmm.
I didn't like that one. I absolutely detest it. That was one of my least favorite films in general, actually. Not even just a Batman film, but that's one of my least favorite films. It was enjoyable, don't get me wrong, but it was just drawn out for me. But something like Hit Girl, because she's already had backstory, but her actual origin story comes around as to how and who she is. Don't get me wrong, I haven't seen Kick-Ass 2 yet.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen that either, and this movie
Yeah.
actually makes me want to see that now.
Yeah, right? After I rewatched this movie, I'm like, I haven't seen number 2. I need to do that. But I thought there was no long drawn out, oh, this is who she is, this is why she's doing it, blah, 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 blah. It was, her dad died, you all saw it happen. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is who she is now. And apparently she's like that in Kick-Ass 2 as well.
Yeah. Well, she does do this in that scene where she's packing up the gun. She does say something about her mom and how her mom kind of died for nothing, but her dad won't.
Yeah.
And that does kind of parallel how Kick-Ass's mom died. She just drops dead of a heart attack or
Yeah.
brain aneurysm, whatever it is, right in front of
Yeah, I
him.
thought it was a heart attack.
And it kind of mirrors the fact that he has no real origin story, that he just put on a costume as a lark and they have fun with it. And
Yeah.
it makes it hit home for him that he, has to help this little girl out. I still think him picking up the gun is a bit much, but, it does lead him into following her into her vengeance ride. And
Yeah.
if you really think about this movie, and if you really kind of watch how this progresses, it's not so much a story about Kick-Ass as it is about Hit Girl and what happens to her. Because as far as an action movie goes, the action doesn't really start until she shows up, and then it
Oh, I'm gonna lose you guys again. I'm going to the mountains. Son of a fucking bitch.
okay,
Yep.
but
Yep.
the movie doesn't really start becoming an action
There.
movie until she shows up, and she is mostly in the end of it. Like that whole shootout scene is like 70% her, 80% her.
Yeah.
Which is really cool because she's the more interesting of the character, and she has a lot of the better lines too.
Yeah, she does.
She does. It's like I hope in the second one they flesh out Kick-Ass a little bit more, because I think he's a very compelling character in the fact that he's quote unquote doing something that no one's ever done before and inspiring all these other people, but he's almost too good of a character. He's like when you write that main character of yours, you try to make that good guy really really good, and then when you make your secondary characters, you kind of fuck around with them and have fun with them because you don't care about them as much, which
Yeah.
ends up making them more interesting characters. So you have this like Luke Skywalker character who's kind of boring because he's ultra good. But then you have that Han Solo character who's the rogue who who shoots people in cold blood because he's not giving any other choice, but he will do that instead of die. And you have that guy who all the kids want to be. So it's like that's what Hit Girl is. She's the more interesting character because she's more flawed. She's
Oh
not.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of why they did to Superman what they did to him in the last movie, and kind of what they did to him in the comic books ever since Doomsday, is because he's been so Boy Scoutish. He's been so good that people have gotten bored with him. So they have to make him a little more flawed of a character. So he died. He came back. He had a different costume for a while. He was unsure of himself, being so indestructible for so long, and then all of a sudden this thing just comes by and kills him. And then in this new movie, they give him no choice in what to do with Zod. Either you put him down and stop the killing, or you keep him alive but indirectly kill hundreds of other people, which I thought was a beautiful thing to do to him. I just think they made him make the wrong decision.
Yes, I honestly believe that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is that moral quandary, and this goes back to any superhero, or this goes back to any hero story, is that you have this moral quandary of whether or not you're going to do A to B. A is, in Superman's case, you're going to keep Zod alive, and you're going to be able to, basically banish him, and do what's right. Keep the guy alive and move him away.
Yeah.
Exactly. But at the same time, I mean, it's an all superior being that can do pretty much anything he wants.
Mm-hmm.
Super powerful too. Or you kill him, and there goes your mental state at that point in time.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even for someone as Superman, you can get fucked up pretty badly off killing somebody.
Yes, the mind is pretty much your weakest part.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get a brain wrangler at that point in time.
Yeah.
And again, that's true.
I just had a shot of Superman in full costume lying on some psychiatrist's couch talking about the time he had to kill Zod.
But he's dressed as Clark Kent. He's like, oh yeah, I had to kill one of my I didn't kill any. So I had a bad day at work the other day, and had to stop one of my coworkers from
stealing food from the refrigerator.
Yeah, and he just breaks, just murdering millions of people. But that as well goes back to Kick-Ass and Hit Girl and even not so much Big Daddy, honestly, because Big Daddy was set in his ways. His mindset was get oh fuck me, I can't remember his name. Red Mist's dad.
Yeah.
I want to say Ben Kingsley, but I know that's wrong.
Mark Strong.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was his MO throughout the entire film. Teach his little girl how to be able to survive, because he sees what kind of terrible, shitty world it is. He wants to protect his little girl, and then he gets an outing to be able to get his vengeance, and he's able to bring his little girl on. I mean, that was his life. That's exactly what he wanted to do. And honestly, I thought it was the greatest choice to get Nicolas Cage to play Big Daddy.
Oh my god, it kind of was.
Yeah, because it was this great over the top, and it wasn't like over the top, funny. It was, or like it wasn't that odd over the top. It was, suburbanite dad turned good / evil. It was just this odd amalgamation of characters and what he was to what he was portraying, and because he was a dad, he was a damn good father who happened to be a little psychotic.
Well,
and it was almost like he was a functioning sociopath.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And seeing him, take care of his daughter, but in his way, was the funniest thing to see. And like even his like quote unquote dad laughs and everything like that. Fuck, they were perfect for that character.
Mhm. Well, the thing about Big Daddy is that, outside of the costume, he kind of dresses like Mr. Rogers from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Yeah.
And inside the costume, he talks kind of like Adam West from the old Batman TV
Yeah.
series.
I mean, even his costume was very Adam-esque costume-like.
Yeah, it was.
It had the purple head, the body armor. I guess just the suit itself was very 1950s, 1960s Batman.
Yeah, like a better version of the '60s Batman suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, the way he started talking, goddamn, it still makes me laugh to this day.
Okay, so the two other actors they were considering for the role of Big Daddy were Mark Wahlberg
Okay.
and
So did
Daniel
Marky Mark.
and Daniel Craig.
No way.
I can't. Those are like the two opposite ends of the acting scale, and I can't
Yeah,
wrap
that
my
was
head around what they would have done that would have been similar enough to make them think, yeah, I could see them playing this character.
I honestly, I don't see anybody else playing that character other than Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Well, because now you've seen Nicolas Cage do it, and now you can only envision Nicolas Cage's voice screaming at the end when they set him on fire.
Well, I mean, that too. But at the same time, it's like if you would have gotten Marky Mark or even Daniel Craig to play that character, it's gonna sound weird what I'm about to say, but it's like you couldn't take them seriously as that character. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because Marky Mark has this built-up mentality about him, and same for Daniel Craig. They have these different acting personalities, and Nicolas Cage is, Gone in 60 Seconds is that's the perfect acting style that I can say for Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Over the top, very animated style acting. And I don't even think that's acting. I think it's just him. Because if you think about it, like all of his films, that's how he acts. That's the same exact character. Maybe not in Raising Arizona, but like for the most part, every single one of his characters is the same.
Every single one of his characters has some sort of weird little thing that they do.
Yeah.
And it sometimes defies common logic why they do this. Like in Ghost Rider, when he sat there with a martini glass full of jelly beans watching monkey videos, it was just the weirdest fucking thing.
Or in Matchstick Men, when he was, a little mentally ill in that, or his character was in that film.
OCD.
He had a nervous tick. Yeah, he had OCD, and he had a nervous tick, and all these little things. Every single one of his films, he punches a woman in a bear suit. I mean, that alone, just all right. But he has something.
Yeah, we're losing Mario.
What?
We lost you there for a second.
Oh, did you? Sorry.
Yeah.
He has something that's very specific to every single character that he's ever played.
Yeah. But
it's not.
Marky Mark is kind of the same way. His characters are always a little weird and a little off kilter. So I can kind of see why they would think those two guys for this role. And Marky Mark in this role would probably be hilarious. I don't think he would mean to be hilarious. I think he would just be hilarious.
Exactly, and that's the difference, because Marky Mark would be funny, like over the top. People would think it'd be a comedy movie. With Daniel Craig, you would think it'd be a very serious, very dramatic crime superhero movie.
Yes. Exactly.
But with Nicolas Cage, you get this. You get this mixture between it being funny without it actually being funny, because it's dry humor.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you get this seriousness out of it because of, it's just what he does. What is it? The National Treasure movies.
Yeah.
You know, they're very funny and they're very, you know, they're comedy, but at the same time they're very, I don't want to say smart because they're not, but they're drama based as well.
Yeah.
You know, they're like Catch Me If You Can. You know, they're very, or not Catch Me If You Can. Damn it, I'm all over the place today. But it's very,
Like Ocean's 11 or something like that.
yeah. Thank you. You know, you get this perfect dichotomy between, honestly, he's the perfect dichotomy of the funniness to Marky Mark and the seriousness of Daniel Craig,
Hmm. Yeah.
and plus the weirdness of the character Big Daddy. You know, he interpreted very well. People can say what they want, but once Nicolas Cage finds a character he can play, Big Daddy is a great example of a character he could play. Um, the guy in Matchstick Men, I haven't seen that movie in years, so forgive me, but I forget his name. You know, his film Matchstick Men, that was a great film. I love that film.
Hmm.
Um, I actually just rewatched Lord of War. Not bad, honestly.
That just popped up on Netflix. I want to see that, but I haven't watched it yet.
Okay, it's a good, like, honestly, if you're high on a Sunday and the remote's just a little bit too far, you know, it's one of those moments where you could watch it. It's a good Sunday film when you just want to be able to turn your brain off and relax and just relax and watch a movie. I would recommend that film. But yeah, Kick-Ass it's more than an action film.
Oh, it definitely is.
It really was. Jamal, you still there?
Jamal?
Was that a yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, you all right there, buddy?
No, I'm fine.
All right. I haven't heard from you in a week or so. So.
No, I was listening to what you guys were saying.
Oh, I gotcha. Oh, by the way, just on the record for now, I'm not going to be able to make next Tuesday. My work schedule got all flubbed up this week, so I got scheduled for Tuesday. I can do Monday if you guys are available.
I'm might be okay with Monday.
Jamal?
Yeah, I can do Monday.
Okay. Same time and everything, but
Okay. Yeah, that works.
all right. Yeah, I fucked up this week, and well, I was at the hospital, and I need to log in for work and, you know, get my dates and everything. Or like I have to schedule my own days and everything. And I had slipped my mind, you know, worried about the girl and everything. And I log in an hour later, and all of the shifts were taken except the nights. You know, because it's like Uber, Alex. You know, you have to, you have the morning shift, you have the evening shift kind of thing.
Hmm.
I fucked up, so I have nothing but evening shifts next week for work. Well, except Monday.
Well, actually, with Uber, I can just sign on whenever I want.
Oh, well, you can go bite me then. That actually sounds pretty awesome.
It is pretty awesome. So, like, you know, if I want to work, if I need the extra money, I can work.
You can just do it.
I just
Huh.
do it.
So at the end of the year, do you get a 1099 off that? Freelance work.
Yes, I think.
Oh, cool.
How much are you making doing that anyway?
Do an Uber?
Yeah.
It depends on, you know, what's going on in the city. Like this weekend, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I made like $425.
Nice.
Yeah, I did on Saturday alone. I think I made like 250. I worked all day. I worked from 12 to 12. But there was a game in town. Everybody was tailgating, so you know I worked my ass off for that.
Now, when you say 12 to 12, are you saying midnight to midnight, or are you saying like noon to midnight?
Noon to midnight.
Oh, okay.
So you just had to work.
I mean, I could have worked until 2 and probably have made probably an extra $50 on top of that.
Right.
But I was tired.
That's not bad though.
Oh,
$250 for 12 hours?
exactly.
Yeah, that's like what, $11 an hour or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, if you break it down and everything. But nice.
Yeah, but
It's
I
good to
do
hear.
like you know, if I work like Wednesday and Sunday too, you know, which I usually just edit on Sunday. But if I work like, Wednesday and Sunday too, I could probably pull down about $700 a week or take home.
Damn.
It just depends on how much I want to work my ass off and what's going on in the city. It's a lot better when the kids are in town. During the summer, it was very hard for me to make any kind of money. I was making maybe $200 a week.
Oh yeah, because everybody's gone.
Yeah, exactly.
See, and it's so fickle too, because during the summer, everybody's gone, but tourists show up.
Mm-hmm.
So they have their own cars and they do their own thing.
Right.
And then during the winter, everybody's gone, and you get nothing but snowbirds to come in.
Mm-hmm.
But again, they have their own cars.
Yeah. Well,
So it's like this finite amount of time that you actually do over the top well.
yeah. Well, you can do like people coming in or people who don't have cars going back and forth to work, or people who want to drink who don't want to risk getting a DUI.
Right,
That's
right.
basically what your clientele is.
Yeah. I mean, shit. When I came back from jail, my friend got me an Uber from the airport to her place.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was fucking like midnight or something like that, and I'm like, I couldn't imagine trying to get a taxi to do this. I was like, Uber, it saved my butt. I have no other way of putting that.
Well, see, that's the nice thing about it, and I tell everybody this, is that, it's an app on your phone, and you can go pretty much any major city in the world and use Uber. You can go to England or Tokyo and fucking use Uber, and it comes right out of your credit card, and it already does the exchange rate for you, so you don't even need to worry about having, foreign currency on you.
Yep. Which, goes back to Hitman. It's such just a convenient move, or Kick-Ass. Damn it! I was trying to go back into the movie.
I'm sure Kick-Ass, if he had the phone on him, he could have called for an Uber to go from crime to crime.
There you go. Boom. Instead of having to hitchhike with Red Mist for a while.
Yeah.
That'd be an interesting sitcom to do. The guy who just drives superheroes everywhere.
It'd be like Jason Statham, transporter, Uber. Like I want to see that transporter.
Actually, I was thinking more like Taxi Cab Confessions, where you just have the superheroes in the back seat, maybe changing their outfits, or
that'd be funny.
Yeah.
You have.
I'd watch that.
Some like foreign guy with an accent up front, not understanding what the superhero is saying.
Have you guys ever heard of Damage Control?
No.
As like a TV show or something?
No, Damage Control. Well, it might be a TV show. I don't know. But Damage Control is a thing in Marvel Comics where it's not a superhero comic book per se. It's the story of the insurance and construction company that you call every time a superhero destroys something in Marvel Comics.
Oh my God!
That's the name of it. I've been looking for years for the name of that thing. I could never find it. Yes, I have heard about that. I apologize.
Basically, when Avengers happens, like the first movie, they're the people you call in to clean up afterwards.
See, they should have had something about that in the Daredevil TV show.
I believe they might have. They might have dropped a hint of, yeah, but or the Shield show, really, because I've always thought that they should do that because it would make for an amazing episode of The Office. Like you could do that in the Office style, and I think you could get away with it.
That'd be fun. It's like the boss comes in, guys. Fucking Superman just came through town again. You guys know the drill. It's downtown. Let's go ahead and go again. Just see all the workers.
Well, they would probably have mixed emotions about it because it's work, but then again it's very difficult work. Because like if Batman came in, Batman's not going to destroy anything really. Because he doesn't have any superpowers.
I can picture that company like when Superman in Man of Steel is destroying the city and then watching it out. It's horrible. All those innocent people. Oh, this is gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you just see like the CEO of that company just like rolling in a fucking gold bathtub laughing while he's watching all this destruction happen. Yeah, like that one asshole boss.
Swimming around in that Scrooge McDuck style.
Yeah, like
bunny
a vault.
Oh, all those beautiful people dying. Oh, I'm so sad. What's a down payment on an F-150 nowadays?
He's just wiping his tears with like $100 bills. Just, oh no, it's so sad. I'm so sorry.
Have yacht brochures all over the place.
Yeah.
They actually are thinking of doing a sitcom based in DC Comics that has nothing to do with superheroes. It just happens to be based on that world on CBS or something.
That might be interesting.
What's up?
I'd probably check it out. Yeah.
They do have a property at DC I thought would make for a great sitcom. It's basically the Uber of superheroes.
Jesus.
What is it called?
Hero Hotline.
That's funny.
It came out in like the early '90s, so people would still call them like stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it had just a bunch of like weird characters out there, like Samson or stuff like that.
That's fucking funny.
It's the common man's bat signal.
Yeah.
Oh, I was reading this little comic the other day, and it's like it was like, it's just some jackass kind of thing, and he's like, you know what? If I were a supervillain, my main villainy to do would be build the largest fan over Gotham and blow away all the clouds, and then I can commit any crime. Because no matter where they try to put the bat signal, Batman would never see it.
Because there's no clouds.
Yeah, and I was like, that's the dumbest. All right, that was kind of funny, but that was the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I always had this idea that my friend Toby, who was supposed to be on the show, but backed out at the last minute, he should be a Wonder Woman supervillain, and his whole thing would be he just commits crimes, so Wonder Woman would come and arrest him. So as she's taking him off to jail, he could hit on her.
God.
Or
You know what? That'd be actually very funny to see, because the superheroes and everybody, they have a fan base.
Mhm.
So if they were real, what type of fanboys would be out there? Someone doing something stupid to be arrested by Wonder Woman just to be in her presence and to hit on her and do all that.
Or a supervillain that does it just so she ties him up with her lasso because he's into BDSM.
Something funny like that. Okay, so what I was really thinking of was on the cartoon The Incredibles. I'm assuming you guys have seen that film.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. It's really cute, by the way. But you have
Fantastic Four movie ever.
Yeah, exactly. Super.
But anyway, you're talking about the one character who's all obsessed with Mr. Incredible.
Yeah, I forget it. Billy, I think his name was, but he turns into Syndrome.
Syndrome, yes.
Played
by, something Lee, the guy from all the Kevin Smith movies.
Jason Lee,
yes.
Yeah. And that film was so fucking funny because it was more of a real comic book movie to me, even though it's not a comic book.
Yeah.
But it seemed like more of a real comic book movie to me than any of the other comic book movies that have been out there and are still coming out. Because, that it was so true. It's, what would happen if someone's trying to kill themselves and a superhero stopped them? And actually, that's kind of bullshit because you do get the vigilante law in the United States. But it was something like that made me laugh. I'm like, holy shit, it's kind of true. Because the superhero would have to go into hiding, but he would still have to make a living. Oh shit, he would get a 9 to 5 just doing something. End up getting a family, and that was almost like a best case scenario thing happening for him.
Yeah.
But it really made me laugh because it's these guys being these gods amongst insects, and then all of a sudden they have to go back to just normal blue collar life.
It's like Clark Kent could never be Superman. He had to be Clark Kent for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he still had these old these old ways of what he is and who he used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And, they're still stuck in his mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like that film in the superhero realm as well.
Yeah, I like the idea of the crazy stalker for the superhero kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Like what was that? God, I can't even think of the movie. The Glenn Close movie where she boils the rabbit. Fatal Attraction. Like Fatal Attraction meets Superman kind of a thing.
Yeah.
That would actually be kind of cool.
That would be interesting. Oh, so have you guys ever heard of the Disney theory? Every single Disney movie is in the same universe.
Oh, I have heard that theory. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll have to send you the link. Obviously, I'm on mobile right now, but I'll have to send you the link. I thought it was really fucking cool whether that was accidental or not. I thought that was really cool that they did that, or someone thought of something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I just realized I haven't eaten today.
Are you hungry?
I'm gonna get food someplace at some point in time.
Go to Los Petos.
They don't have them in Cal.
Oh wait, yeah, I was just rubbing that in. I've been going there like every night for the last like.
Yeah, like if I want authentic food, I'm gonna go to fucking Los Betos.
It's really good food, though. It doesn't matter if it's authentic; it's good.
Yeah. That's true.
But what I heard is that Jamaal is no longer on his diet.
What's that?
I said what I heard was that Jamal's no longer on his diet.
I haven't been on the diet since I got onto this night shift because it's again, finding a way to fall asleep during the day is really weird.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. You're working a graveyard shift now, aren't you?
Yeah.
So eating Los Betos helps you sleep?
No, it's just I everything's just been thrown off in my life right now.
You sound sick too.
I am a little bit sick. I think you know how when you get the flu shot, they say it actually gives you the flu.
Yeah,
because it is.
It's the flu. It's supposed to be a dead virus of the flu, so your body learns how to fight it off.
I am the only one that didn't get the flu shot, and everybody else at work got it. So I've been getting their flu.
Well, not like that, but you're getting all the customers who come in and all that BS.
No, that's why I work on overnights. I don't deal with customers anymore.
So you're you in stocking, or are you like in the back or something?
Yeah, I just basically stock the departments at night. They close down the store, and it's so fucking peaceful. I should have made this move a while ago.
Do you ride the bicycles through the aisles?
They still have the security cameras on, so no.
Oh, okay.
Although I
So
would.
which store? Yeah, no.
So what have you been trying to ask them for like the last minute?
So which store are you working at right now?
Just the Walmart like right next to my house.
Is that the one on the northeast or northwest side?
It's the one on. It's on Wetmore.
Yeah.
Next to the Tucson Mall.
Oh shit! You live out there?
Yeah.
Oh fuck me! I didn't realize. I thought you lived like next to West Campus.
I used to go to West Campus, but no, yeah, well, you would know that. I used to. Yeah, the commute out there used to be hell.
Oh, I can imagine. Fucking Christ! You know what's really funny? Obviously you don't know yet, but
well, I know it's funny to me. I don't know what you're gonna say.
I legitimately paused and I'm like, why do I need confirmation? They have no idea what's on my brain right now. But going from Tucson to California, it was a huge shift for me. And then, and then New York as well. That's a whole different shift as well. And then the first year I was living out here in California, I drive. You have to drive in California. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I moved when I came back to Tucson for a visit and everything like that. It threw me off guard so badly.
How so?
Because I'm like, everything is so close, but it's so spread out. It's so far away.
Yeah. There's no freeway system here.
No, there's not. And that's what really got me. Because I was going from my house, which is essentially 5 minutes away, maybe 10 minutes away with traffic from the airport, all the way to the north side to go hang out with a friend, like past Tucson Mall, like up the hill plus 15 minutes. You know, he lives way the fuck out there.
Right.
And it took me an hour to get to his place from where I live to out there. And I'm looking at the speedometer, or I'm looking at my odometer, and it only said it was like 20 miles, maybe 30.
Yeah.
I don't remember this in time. And I'm like, why did it take me a goddamn hour? And I realized, oh shit, because it's all in-town traffic. It's all stop and go, stop and go. You know, and I'm just so used to California. Like, I just came from Santa Barbara. I've been parked in front of a mini mall place because there's like 8 or 9 different food venues in front of me right now. They're taunting me. But I made that trip from Santa Barbara all the way to where I am right now, and it's about a 40-mile drive. And I made it in 35 minutes.
Wow.
And it was relatively easy. I had maybe one hiccup, and that was to get onto the freeway. But other than that,
it's difficult out there.
It is, and it's so, it throws me off guard whenever, because I'm planning on going back home in December. But it's, god damn it, is it different? Yeah. It really throws you off guard. Like if I ever have a kid, I don't know if I could raise them in California. Like that would just be the weirdest fucking thing to me.
Let me know when you're coming into town. We can get together. Maybe the 3 of us can get together and do the show live together.
Yeah, that's cool.
That'd be fun.
That would be. I'm actually planning on doing. Well, I want to take my girlfriend. Yeah. Take her to Grand Canyon. Take her to the Natural History Museum. Teach her about Arizona Indian, the Plains Indians.
There's 3 things you need to know about Arizona. Everybody's lawn looks like a white trash lawn. The sun is really, really hot, and we have cactus. We don't have trees. We have cactus.
Yeah.
If you can afford it, go to the hotels within the Grand Canyon park, not on the outside, because the commute there, while beautiful, is still kind of brutal.
Oh yeah. Actually, what I was planning on doing, it was going to be I want to do like a week-long thing, but it's going to be a day or two in Tucson itself.
Yeah.
Take a Natural History Museum, do all those little like fun touristy things, and then I really want to show her the 300-year-old tortoise. You know, the big one that's like half the size of my car. Take her to the Natural History Museum, and then drive up to Grand Canyon, and then go to Flagstaff. And in Flagstaff, they have these. It's almost like a studio apartment, but it's like an Uber teepee. They're fucking cool, but it's like these wooden lattices that you stretch out, and they make this really large room that fits like 2 beds, a small wooden stove, oddly enough, a tiny carpet that they put in there too. And then it's like they took the rest of the teepee and put it on top of it. So it's all made out of canvas and wood, and they're campsites. So you're living in a tiny tent, or decent sized tent, out literally in the middle of the woods in Flagstaff. And every single campsite, they're maybe a mile away from each other, a little bit more. But every single different campsite has a different view of the mountain in Flagstaff. So you see just acres of forest, but you're living comfortably in this tiny little campsite. And it's like $50 a night or something like that. They're super cheap. So I was figuring doing that and then coming back to California for the last day and a half kind of thing. But I thought it'd be a fun little Christmas gift and everything. Oh,
I can tell you right now, the drive from here to the Grand Canyon, while there are some really, really nice sights on the way there, brutal. 7
Yeah.
hours.
That's actually not that bad.
No, it's not.
You know what's really sad? The other night I did a shoot in downtown Los Angeles. It's not other night, it was like a month ago. But it took me 4.5 hours to get 60 miles. And that's nothing to me now. Like, it's disgusting how much time I spend in my car now. Just driving and waiting. So 7 hours is 7 hours on an open road, while yes is very boring, would be a goddamn godsend to me. Because if I can do all 7 hours in one stretch instead of stop, go, stop, go, stop, go. Oh, someone cut me off again. All right, stop, go, stop, go, stop. That would be amazing. I would fucking relish that.
It's a completely different beast when you do that, because I've done the trek to Las Vegas a couple of times, and there's not much to see in that on that trip.
Yeah,
And
except like that the alien like store, whatever it is.
Penn and Teller did a video or something, and it never got like published or put out to the public. But one thing did. They came up with a game called Desert Bus, and it's a first person driving simulator that is in real time. You drive a bus from Tucson, Arizona to Las Vegas, Nevada.
Okay.
It is an 8-hour game. The alignment on the bus is slightly off, so it goes to the left a little bit. So you have to pay attention to what you're doing, because if you go too far off the track, the bus will crash, quote unquote, and then have to be towed back to Tucson, Arizona in real time.
No.
So if you can do the drive on this game, Tucson, Arizona to Las Vegas, Nevada, you score 1 point.
Fucking Christ.
And then you get the option to make the return trip.
Like right then and there, or can you like wait a couple hours and do it again?
Right then and there.
Fuck.
And the alignment on the bus is a little bit off because it's a straight shot and there's nothing there. It's a reused horizon. It's like 16-bit or something. So there's like nothing there. There's not even like cactus, but it goes slightly off to one side, so you can't just plug it in and walk away. You have to actually sit there and pay attention to it.
Fuck.
So what you should do is have your girlfriend play Desert Bus while you drive her to.
What? So it's for the computer?
You could probably get it for like the iPad or something. But yeah, you can find it online someplace.
I'm totally gonna have to fucking get that now. That's thing. I don't want to play it for a while, obviously, but I will definitely play that game one day.
Yeah, that I've tried it a couple times, and I never made it to the end.
What's the longest you've ever been on there?
Probably an hour.
So you drove out to Casa Grande?
Basically.
Yeah, essentially. No, you don't even make it to Phoenix.
No, you don't. Basically, I would probably be
Casa Grande. That's halfway
Yeah,
between.
Casa Grande. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's fucking.
But it's like you don't get even that. You don't get like towns or anything. You get a desolate desert. It looks like you might even be taking like back roads. It's a 2-lane highway that you're on, so you're not even on the 10.
Oh.
So you don't really see cities. You just see desert.
Hey, is it true that you could get on Oracle and take that all the way to Phoenix?
Probably. I've never tried it, but I think you can.
Huh.
There is a town called Oracle that Oracle Road goes into. I don't know how close that is to Phoenix.
Oracle's not close to Phoenix at all.
The city of Oracle?
Yeah.
I am going to ask Google that to see how much Google actually knows.
You do that.
Can you?
Hey, Jamal, you work tonight?
Yes. In fact, I probably should be getting ready for work.
Say, dude, because it's 9:10 right now.
Yeah. All right, guys.
All right, senor. Drive safe. Do all that fun stuff at work.
You drive safe, sir. Are you still on the road right now?
No, I've been parked for the past 15 minutes, and like I said, in like a mini mall.
All right, go
Just
get something to eat and then drive safe home.
Oh, I will. I actually work in the morning, so I need.
All right, guys. Just text me what we're watching this week.
Actually,
Got it.
it's your choice.
Oh,
But Mario and I had a suggestion since you suggested us voting on it.
yeah.
My suggestion was that we watch Hot Fuzz because it pays homage to the genre of the action movie.
Okay, sure. I've been meaning to see that anyway.
Yeah, I believe it's on Netflix as well. So if you have it, if not, I'm sure you can find it online.
Okay,
I
cool.
found
I think they took it off.
Did they? Oh,
Yeah, I
but
think they
I'll,
just took it off.
I found Kick-Ass on YouTube. So
Oh,
I'm sure I can find it somehow.
yeah.
you guys need to download the app. You can just download it for Mac or PC called Popcorn Time. You can find about 90 to 95% of every single type of cartoon, uh, TV show, like Dexter and everything like that too, as well as movies, within about 24 hours of it being released.
Nice.
Yeah. So I mean that's where I watch most of my movies now, unless it's like an older movie, like Deathbed. That was the only movie that I didn't watch on Popcorn Time.
Really, I'm surprised.
No, Deathbed didn't make it out to Popcorn Time.
I know, right? I was disappointed.
Well, technically, it just came out a few years ago, so it should have been on Popcorn Time.
Right, that's what I thought. But I guess it's such an obscure movie that everyone was just like, nah, we don't want to. Even the internet was just like, nah, I don't want that movie.
All right, guys. I will talk to you next week.
Okay.
Later, man.
Later.
Is he gone?
He's gone. We can talk badly about him now.
Fuck that guy.
So, have you watched anything interesting lately?
I don't really think so.
So, hold on a second. I need to.
No, I saw Everest this past week. Or, no, I saw that last week. Never mind. Yeah, I saw Everest. It was actually a pretty good movie. I'd recommend it. Maybe, dollars for a movie.
Right.
But it was entertaining.
I saw It Follows this weekend.
Oh, what did you think?
Actually, I saw it yesterday. I was a little bored watching it.
Really?
I have to admit, there's a lot of the lead character just kind of looking off into the distance,
Yeah.
and it's like when I heard about the concept of the movie, this entity that follows you around to try to kill you, and if it kills you, it goes to the person who gave it to you, and the previous person who had it. Which I thought, okay, that's a really cool concept. That's very kind of Japanese. They have demons that will follow you around and torment you and whatnot. So I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. And then I learned that you have to have sex with a person to pass it off to them, which is I'm not in love with that concept, but I don't hate it either. It's,
Yeah.
whatever.
It,
So
it was a different way of spreading the. I hate to say spreading the disease, but I mean, yeah, it was a different way of spreading the death thing.
yeah, I was just going to say that is a very interesting take on the concept of a sexually transmitted disease. And had they played it like that, that might have been a more interesting thing. But they didn't really play it like that. They played it more like a straight horror film, which I was really kind of looking forward to. But again, like I said, there's a lot of her just she kind of looks like she gave up after a while, just looking forlorn through windows as they did stuff. And then she has sex with not just one but two of her friends, and one of which being killed off by the entity, the only person we actually see get killed off, which was kind of cool.
Right.
And then the whole thing in the pool at the end just seemed it just seems so weird to me because they go to this dilapidated part of Detroit. They go to this abandoned building that's all fenced off, and then they find a pristine giant Olympic-sized swimming pool, still full of water and well lit, to try to electrocute this entity with.
Yeah.
And it just the whole thing, like how I make fun of like Twilight, how it seems like everybody's forgotten their lines and nobody knows what's going on. It's kind of how I felt about this movie, but worse.
Yeah, it felt a little airy.
Yeah,
Everybody was just.
yeah,
It's like they were holding their breath until the next person said their line,
hmm
and then they just blurted it out really fast.
yeah. Well,
Not really fast, but it felt like that. Like they were trying to just get. They were trying to get their job over with. Is what it seemed like.
yeah, and there were some cool parts of the movie, like when they went to the lake or to the ocean, whatever it was. It was a lake because it's in Detroit. So when they
Yeah, it
went,
was a.
so when they go to the lake and the thing, encounters them there, that was kind of interesting. However, it bothers me that the one person we see die from the entity, it jumps on him right away and then kind of fucks him to death. I don't really know exactly what happened there, but that was
Yeah,
kind of weird.
he just died. I never really was clear on that one either.
Well, because she was the entity was on top of him, like she was riding him and half naked, so it was like it was literally, fucking him to death.
Yeah.
But it's like at the lake, it just grabs her by the hair. Like it could have just thrown her down and started doing stuff to her, but it just grabs her hair. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's kind of a lame thing to do because it was behind her, nobody else could see it. It could have just grabbed her and killed her.
Yeah, it could have done anything. Yeah, that kill seemed a little weak to me.
Yeah. So it's like
Yeah.
I was thinking what would have been cool because they tracked down the guy who gave it to her. That that it would have been cool had they tried to track down everybody and try to find the first person who they got it from, who started it all.
Yeah, originally I thought it was going to be like a Scooby Doo hunt.
Yeah. And
Oh, who gave it to me? Who gave it to you? Who gave it? And then eventually it would be like 50 different people, all not like 50 people at the same time, but like helping each other, trying to figure out what the fuck this thing came from.
yeah, and or what they could have done is in that hunt, like either find the person who originated it, who gave it to who originated it, and then like kill him and then kill the spirit. Or they could have done something like they go back like 5 people and then realize everybody else is dead. So even if you pass it on, you're still gonna die from it.
Yeah, you're still fucked.
So then find a way to actually kill the entity itself, and that would have led to them trying to electrocute it in the pool. But it seemed like there was a big disconnect to that plan and how they came up with it.
Yeah.
So like there, I think there were some missed opportunities there. I mean, it wasn't a bad film, and I can kind of understand why it got such critical acclaim to it. It's just
It was an awful film. Like out of nowhere, this movie just came out too, and it did very well in festivals, and
yeah,
it had a cult following within about a week.
yeah.
Like every horror nerd just blew loads over this thing. Loved it.
Yeah. Because see, I like I said, I think it could have there could have been some more to it, but
Oh, definitely.
yeah, it's an interesting watch, and it's nice to see what people with little to no budget are doing. I mean, it's very character driven, very story driven, so it's good that way. Yeah,
And it's good seeing films like that being made
yeah,
nowadays.
yeah, because it's not your typical affair. It's not your typical every 10 minutes you have an action beat. You can do more with it. You can do more dialogue and more fancy dialogue, more stuff like what's his face does. Who did Pulp Fiction? Quentin Tarantino. You can do more.
Tarantino.
Yeah, you can do more stuff like that nowadays, which is nice. Which is nice to see people taking that opportunity.
Definitely. The fuck was? Oh, fair enough.
And then
It's
I watched another film called What We Do in the Shadows.
interesting. What's that?
It's it's a story about 5 vampires. 3 of which are like somewhere like 200 and between 200 and 400 years old. One is like 1,000 years old, and then one just got turned. They all live in this house as roommates, and it's done documentary style, and they're just trying to survive in modern times.
That actually sounds kind of funny.
It is funny, and it's done out of New Zealand.
What
And
was the name of it again?
What We Do in the Shadows.
What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm gonna have to check that one out.
And it's great. There's this one scene where two of the vampires are fighting, and they all have like some powers. They can fly, they can turn into bats, they can hypnotize people, but um, their degrees of success to these abilities depending on who it is. Like one of the guys is really good at like hypnotizing people, and like the other
Yeah,
guys aren't as good. So like two of the vampires are fighting, and since there's such a commotion going on, the cops are called. So one of the vampires has to go down and answer the door, and the cops, they come in and they're like, we got to look around. So as they're going up the stairs, the vampire turns to the cops and he waves his hand over their face, kind of like Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he says, "You will not see anything out of the ordinary upstairs." And the cops are like, "Yeah, we hope so, but we still have to do an investigation." And then he does the confessional where he admits he's not very good at hypnotizing and that sometimes, the effect can wear away, at the most inopportune time.
that's funny.
So they go into this room, and there's one vampire in the corner on the ceiling and walls. There's another vampire kind of floating, and then the third vampire has his arms around the guy's feet, trying to keep the two vampires away from each other so they don't fight. And the
Oh,
co-
okay, yeah.
and the cops come in, and they're looking around, and they're just talking to the guys and asking them what's going on, and stuff. And they're not even concerned with the fact that somebody's, up on the walls and somebody else is kind of floating around. And then just as the cops turn to walk away, the one cop stops and he pulls out his flashlight and he's like, "Oh, oh, do you see this?" And he's flashing it like onto the walls and in the corner where that one vampire is. And the other cop is like, "Yeah, yeah, I see. You guys need to put in some smoke detectors. What if you guys had a fire?" And it's basically that kind of humor. And then the one vampire who was just turned has a friend who does IT work, and he's teaching the vampires how to use computers and stuff. And
That's fun. Oh, that's right. 'Cause they have to live in like modern day culture.
yeah, so they end up liking the computer technician over the vampire who they just turned. They banish the vampire, but they want to keep the other guy around.
That's fucking funny.
It was pretty good. We got it from Redbox, and we saw it advertised on some movie. I forget what movie it was, and it just looked interesting, and it was a really good film.
Never really used a red box before, but I'm every once in a while they'll have something that I'm like, oh, that sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's really easy. You use a credit card. I think you pay like $1.50 for a movie now, and
Yeah, it's something super cheap.
yeah, and the thing is, you can return it back to any Redbox. You just have to do it before 9 o'clock the next day, which I always end up forgetting. So I end up paying like $3 for a movie instead of $1.50. But still,
Big whoop. Yeah.
that's still kind of cheap. I mean, that's still probably cheaper than what you'll get off of uh, off of Apple TV or some of the other
Yeah.
places. I think it's about on par with Amazon, but yeah, I mean, it's like it's nice. It's the only thing is you have to like actually leave the house to do it, which is why I never return the videos on time.
Because you have to put pants on.
Yes, and the thing is too, where I live, there's a Circle K like literally on the same block. That it's on the same
Oh,
side of the block.
Jesus.
So I normally just walk down there and either get the film or return the film, but I never do it on time.
Proud of you.
Thank you, thank you.
Yep. Just proud of you.
All right. Well, we should probably end this, and you can go and eat and do whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that your girlfriend is doing well.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Mhm. And Monday at 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So for every what?
I was just gonna say I'll let you know if that has to change or anything.
Oh yeah, sounds good.
But what were you going to say?
All I was gonna say from everybody here at MOF, we bid you a good evening and morning, whatever time you're listening to us, but we bid you with that.
Yes. And if you want to learn more about us, you can go over to our website, mof.ninja, where you can see, little blurbs about us, what our qualifications are, some of the movies that we've done together, um, the movies that we talk about. I leave links on them to Amazon so you can rent them and or buy them, uh, and other things. Soon to be T-shirts, maybe, possibly,
Yeah.
or games, maybe.
Hey, did you ever find Of the Dead?
I didn't look for it,
No big
but
deal.
yeah, we're in the midst of moving, so things are in various states of being packed. So
Oh, nice. You guys are moving.
yes,
Good to hear.
yes.
Wait, you guys staying in town, or are you guys like leaving, moving?
I'm staying in town. Heather's still trying to decide what she's doing.
Gotcha. Sounds good.
She's going back and forth between every place in the country, and
Yeah, I know how that is.
yeah, we're supposed to be out on Tuesday or on Thursday. So we just asked the landlord. Yeah, we just asked the landlord for a little bit of time. We still haven't got her car back from the body shop yet either, which is a
Fucking
big.
Friday.
Yeah, it's a big pain in the ass. I offered the guy my motorcycle to get the car back, and he's putzing around, not getting back to me about it. So hopefully we'll get her car back someday, and we can actually do something.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I hope you guys get your stuff.
Thanks, appreciate it.
All right. So
right.
for everybody here, we love all of you.
Everybody there.
Yeah. Jamal, I'm pretty sure he loves most of everybody as well. If not, it's Jamal. He's brown.
Leave a comment about how you feel about Jamal on mof.ninja. Whether you like him or dislike him or love him or not love him or whatever it is.
See, I'm just gonna create about 30 different characters just shitting on him now. And then the last like character I'm gonna create is just gonna be like, well, I guess he's okay, and then just leave it at that.
You should have characters, go into fights about how they feel about Jamal.
Oh fuck! I'm gonna have my characters fight amongst each other.
Some should like him, some should not like him.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that would be epic.
Let's see. I have Friday morning off. I'm gonna fuck with him on Friday morning.
Oh my god. He will be so pleased that people are talking about him. And then he'll listen to this podcast and be like, those sons of bitches.
Motherfucker. I wonder if he does listen to us though.
I don't know. He hasn't complained about any of the things that I've done.
Which I'm assuming that's why he doesn't like, because you do some shady shit.
I do some stuff like I forget which episode it was. It was just recently. I put at the very beginning of it him saying, "Let's hurry this up. I could be masturbating right now." And then it goes into the opening theme song. And then sometimes I put him or you or I think even me. I don't know if I've done one at the end of our at the end after the end credits, after the end music. I'll do sometimes.
Oh yeah, I've been starting to, because I forgot what episode it was, but I realized you were doing that, and I'm like, oh, I need to start listening to the end of it. It's like was it like the end of Marvel movies?
Yeah, it's a post-credit sequence. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh shit, I need to start listening to all of them now.
Yeah. I haven't done them with all of them. I just do them with some.
Yeah.
I have a couple that I've saved that I haven't done yet. I think one of which is of me saying, "Tell your roommate I said sup."
Jesus. I don't think I heard that one.
No, I haven't put that on the.
Oh, you haven't done that one yet. I got you. That's fucking big. All right. So for the third time, love you all. Have fun. I'm gonna be fat right now, and I just found a pizza place, so I think I'm gonna go get a calzone.
Oh, there you go. That's nice.
But from MOF to all of you, from I'm assuming my girlfriend as well, but she's kind of drugged up on Oxycontin.
Lucky her.
Yeah, right. We love you all. Take care, and remember to watch the skies.
Definitely. All right. Talk to you later.
All right, man. I'll catch you next week.
All right, bye.
Later.
Join the makers each week as they discuss film, TV, and pop culture. To learn more about them, go to mof.ninja. This is Sean Connery saying goodbye.
Just tell your roommate I said sup.